I think 2018 should be the year where, when hopefully we will be able to start seeing some real applications hitting production systems, at least more pervasively as versus what we saw in 2017. Technology, I think, has been evolving really rapidly this past couple of years, particularly last year. I think there was a lot of improvements in technology. I think Hyperledger Fabric now is a lot better than it used to be, and Ethereum is really amazing. I mean, enterprise Ethereum is a lot more ready than it was. Quorum, I think, is a wonderful technology that we are actually using very pervasively, not just us, but actually many players in the industry. It provides you privacy, it provides you scalability, and it works really well these days. And I think we're gonna keep seeing this tendency to get this technology a lot more ready. So probably it's not yet totally ready as to replace our systems and do really big applications and very large scale production applications, but at least for some lower volume kind of high value transactions, I think we will see, hopefully we will be able to see some real applications in 2018. As when we talk about topics or what are the applications that we see, I think we have to start or to keep working on payments, and not just on the messaging layer for the payments as we have seen in the past, but actually working on the liquidity management side of things, and also to achieve real settlement and real transfer of value. This is something I'm personally quite passionate about, and we do have systems very, very close to working the whole thing end-to-end in production. I think that's one of the big topics for 2018.
So it's interesting when you think about the evolution of anything, whether that be a young child or whether that even be technology, there are a number of different things that technical base has to go through. And certainly in the very early stages of 2014, it was about education. And we, being one of the earliest adopters, and maybe even a visionary of the technology, particularly in our industry with gemstones and diamonds, saw how important it was to industry. We fast ramped into production scale. And this year for us, we're challenged beyond the borders of blockchain. We're really starting to think about interoperability at its truest form. Given that we've constructed a network, a web, a mesh of industry with different participants across the chain, we're also challenged by how do we bring the very best of sensorial data and bring man and machine opinion into the consensus protocols. How do we bring those together so we can give a real robustness to the diamond and gemstone industry? And beyond that, I'm thinking about the constructs of cryptography. So what's happening in the space of homomorphic encryption? And is there really a place for that inside of enterprise networks? So they're the two things that I'm challenging myself. Zuckerberg has a personal challenge, and this year for me is to try and arm wrestle those two thinking constructs.
I think that the major point of discussion will be around intercommunicability, interoperability of blockchain systems. So we have seen during the last years a proliferation of different blockchain ecosystems and platforms and different type of applications sitting on the top of these blockchain technologies. But the problem is that these blockchain applications are basically blockchain dependent. So they're not able to talk to each other if they sit in different blockchains. So already starting a few months ago, but this will be a topic of discussion for the 2018, are projects related to interoperability. So like Cosmos, Polkadot, Interledger, the recent project about Overledger by Quant Network, and many other projects that will try to address these issues to create, multi-chain blockchain applications that will be able to talk to each other, although they sit in different blockchains.
2017 has been really about proof of concepts and about testing out new business models and new ideas. Now what we see with moving into 2018, that we want to see these projects coming through to production and reality. That's really the proof point about how do you integrate it with legacy systems at the bank, how do the regulators finally assess certain solutions. So it's an exciting year, but I think it will bring us really to a state where we can then in 19 and 20 go and really scale up solutions.
I think 2018 is going to be a really crucial year for blockchain. 2016 and 17 was a lot of proof of concepts, some early pilots, and a lot of what I like to call blockchain tourism. People sort of just trying to understand what it is. 2018 I think is going to be the year where there's real proof points of people going into production with real live applications. So I think, you know, we look back in a year from now, it'll prove that 2018 was a pivotal year for blockchain.
2018, I really see a maturity in the ICO space. You see 2017 was almost the Wild West of ICOs. Every company was deciding to do an ICO. But I think the regulatory frameworks are really going to start developing in 2018 for people to start really using ICOs as a legitimate tool. And then we'll start seeing a lot of implementation actually of companies that ICO'd in 2016 and 2017. I think 2018 is the year of implementation.
I think 2018 is going to be the year where the gap between theory and implementation will be finally bridged. We'll notice that now, since there's a bigger understanding out there of the potential and the application of such technologies, a lot of companies will be moving towards actually making use case or real life use cases out of this technology, and we'll also see a lot of movement towards the regulation of this technology, such as the initiatives that are currently happening for us back home in Malta.
If we're talking about the region, I think you know, everyone is doing something with regard to blockchain now. I know it is happening for sure, full time and full speed here in Dubai. It is the same thing happening in Saudi Arabia. It's the same thing happening in Bahrain and Kuwait and Oman. Part of it, you know, when we're talking about blockchain on a global scale, on a global level, now we're talking about certain issues and problems that we have with the blockchain. For example, you know, the scalability of the blockchain. You know, sometimes we're talking about the speed of transactions, and we're talking about different kind of things. You know, like the waste that happens from the proof of work mechanism, which is the mining mechanism that wastes a lot of energy. How to utilize that? How we kind of recycle the energy in a way or another. So there are certain, you know, aspects that will be the hot topic. One of them is the interoperability, basically, how to link all of these chains to be talking to each other in a way. And when we achieve that kind of, you know, when every chain is linked to the other and they can all talk to each other, this is where I think we will reach to the point where we can say that blockchain now is the new internet. And that's what I'm looking forward to see.
Definitely there is a very vibrant community of developers, entrepreneurs, and otherwise just people that are working in all these technologies. Of course, we're going to see more mature networks and blockchains and technologies that would support private transactions and would support thousands of transactions per second. That is definitely inevitable, in my opinion. Where the blockchain is going, well, that's something that we're just discussing on stage. What is the problem today? What is the challenge? And the challenge is, I think, education. People still don't understand what this technology is about. And we will have to put forward a tremendous effort to educate mere mortals about how they should go about this technology. What does it mean for them? How they can plan for the future. I think that topic is very, very important. But again, in the grand scheme of things, just like the internet became a very integral part of our lives, blockchain as this underlying infrastructure would become one of the essential technologies in the future, absolutely.
You will see that, you know, more and more that, you know, it's depends on how that, you know, the executions for this project. And we believe that, you know, our company will have a good system to reach out to the people that in need of help.
I think 2018 is going to build on 2017. 2017, we saw some phenomenal momentum created. In one way, it was the year of the ICO, going from virtually zero to just over $3 billion raised, eclipsing the VC industry and creating a huge amount of opportunity for innovation. So I'm hoping that in 2018 we see innovation continue, but more importantly at governmental and the corporate level, we see some of these institutions deploying technologies rather than succumbing to consultancy.
2018 would be the big battle between decentralized exchanges and centralized regulated exchanges, and which exchanges are owned by a large group of people, so decentralized exchanges owned by maybe tens, hundreds of thousands, even millions. So we have the likes of Robin Hood, and then very regulated, highly centralized exchanges such as Coinbase, and then we're likely to see a big face-off between regulators on one hand and a peer-to-peer community on the other hand, sort of advocating their own positions, much like Bitcoin in 2013. Initial price discovery and volatility is a pretty positive phenomena. It allows for real price discovery to occur. I think it's going to affect the way the public perceive peer-to-peer technology, because we are about to enter the first phase of a real discussion of what a decentralized ecosystem involves.
The important topics are interoperability and economic value creation. So these will be great additions and further developments to answer questions left over to us from 2017, for example, with the ICO challenges and with the additional regulatory scrutiny, and what are we going to do? So I think the solution is to discover more economic value, discover the right business model, and interoperability is the secret to that.
In 2018, I think we'll see more deployment of blockchain for real cases. I think we'll see it here in Dubai, but I think we'll see it in other parts of the world as well. We're going to see more coins, but I think we're going to find real use cases for the coins.
I do believe that blockchain as a technology and as a solution to the problems it's solving will continue to evolve in upcoming years. And it will continue to impact our daily lives. Eventually there will be more and more applications of a blockchain in a regular life of a regular people. It may happen that it wouldn't be really a blockchain, technology-wise. There may be a different solution. So technology may change, and it should change because we all know that the most popular blockchain, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they experience some performance problems and like network congestions and high fees. So technology will continue to evolve, but the ideology where people can create the value, and this is decentralized. There are less and less central powers involving in the process. That ideology wouldn't die out, and that ideology will be growing and growing, and eventually will change our lives forever.
So my work is mostly with on the side of regulation, compliance, and risk. So what we saw in 2017 is an explosion or a big bang in a new type of business model, which is the token launches and the ICOs and the explosion of fundraising via tokens. And I think that will continue, but it's a new paradigm. But I think the conversation will start moving towards the risk management, how to manage the new products and new technologies that are emerging. And I see that there's already concerns from some government officials about these technologies and the impact it is having on certain users. And I think the focus will focus on risk management. It will be moved to risk management this year. And obviously on the side of the technology, there's going to be conversations about the industry is fragmenting a lot, so consolidation, or a standard setting and finding commonalities across blockchains. And I agree with others that there will be conversation toward interoperability across blockchains.
It's hard to make predictions when something is so dynamic, even volatile sometimes. Even the price of Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies goes up, down. It's very dramatic even. So it's very hard to make predictions, but some of the things that I've thought about and I've heard about is that a lot of ICOs that weren't good ideas in the first place will probably fall to the wayside. I feel that the ICOs that will remain will be those that have a real use case, and also projects which utilize the blockchain for a very good reason. So not those who would need a regular database and they're just riding on the wave. So I think that people who want to ride the wave of cryptocurrencies and blockchain, these people would have a bit less to do because people are going to be more savvy, they're going to have better knowledge, and they're not going to fall for these semi-scams, so to say. As for other things, I myself think that there will be greater adoption, especially in the industries that need it the most. For example, the real estate industry has some outdated regulations, especially in the States. So in other countries, one might notice that there is a need to do something about it. Medical, pharmaceuticals, I feel that the security that blockchain can allow makes it a big plus, basically, for those who want to build projects based on that. So another prediction for the blockchain is that people are going to be more aware. I think I've already mentioned that, but it's good to underline this. People will be more aware, and for better or worse, governments are going to be more aware. So we might see some upcoming regulations, but we also might see some positive responses to crypto or to blockchain, just like the response that we see here with Smart Dubai.
Showcard has been around for almost 3 years, and there's been quite an evolution since the beginning when we were talking to banks and financial services companies, and they're very cautious about blockchain. They associated it with Bitcoin and currency, so there was a hesitation. But over time, we've been evangelizing and we've been talking to them, and they're realizing now that there is a benefit and there's a distinction between blockchain and the currency aspects of it. But I think there's still an evolution. There's still a process where they're still gathering information, and there needs to be a comfort level before they fully embrace and engage with the technology. And I think that's happening now. More and more banks are either have specific initiatives around blockchain and are moving forward with pilots and specific engagements and deployments. So I think that's only going to increase as time goes on. I think originally it might have seemed like it was just a fad, but and I think from a regulation standpoint, maybe the governments have been staying on the sideline waiting to see how things are going to evolve. But things are here, and they're going to stay, and this is a very disruptive technology, and it provides a lot of good benefits. And so it only behooves governments to maybe relax regulations or encourage regulations to be able to allow this type of development and innovation to blossom.
I think we will see better understanding from regulators, so it will have to be driven from the government, of course. I think regulators will start accepting it slowly. They will onboard platforms that will perhaps be self-regulated platforms. So the regulator doesn't have to regulate every single ICO, but they will have a number of trusted platforms and exchanges that are monitored by them, that take care of the KYC, that make sure that the money that goes in and the money that goes out is clean, that there is no questions about the provenance of this money, and so that they are not getting into any trouble with international players, including foreign governments and so on. That they're not helping the criminal world, of course. So I think that this is a big thing that will happen, is regulation. I think, there's right now undeniably a boom going on in particular currencies. I think that bubble will deflate for a lot of currencies. Instead, I think that stable currencies, we already have that, and they are called Swiss franc, US dollar, and dirham. I think these assets, they don't need replacing, they just need digitizing and to be made more effectively accessible.
When it comes to blockchain technology development in coming years, I believe that it's gonna be a next revolution or evolution, I would say. The thing is that we already passed the dot-com bubble, so my personal beliefs on that is this is gonna be different. Of course, there will be failures here. They are already there. It's always that's one of the outcome of the change, right? What I believe in is that this particular thing, which is blockchain, that will give back power to individuals, in a sense that, like the very beginning of the internet revolution, there was like the people were empowered by this technology. Later on, businesses were empowered with that, and I believe that blockchain will gonna be about the same. So first, it will empower people, then companies, governments. It should bring a lot of benefits, I believe.